So welcome everybody to NAWBO's Financial Literacy Series. We are doing a series of 3 workshops over the next 3 months to help wrap up 2024 in the strongest way and get you set for your strongest financial future in 2025. I'm Linda Bishop. I am the Vice President of National Programs with the NAWBO National Institute for Entrepreneurial Development, which is our 501c3 arm of NAWBO. In case you aren't aware, we are actually 2 organizations in one. And the NAWBO Institute is here for educational purposes, and much of our programming is open to everyone, not just NAWBO members. And this financial series is one of those offerings where anybody can join for the next 3 months. We want all business owners to be stronger and to understand their finances in a bigger way. And I'm super excited to introduce to you today Dawnette Palmore. So she is our expert that's going to be holding these workshops for the next 3 sessions. Donette is in Long Beach, California, and she is the founder of Your Money on Purpose. She is a coach, a financial literacy coach, and she helps people get control of their finances, do some very strategic thinking, and be able to live their very best financial lives. So Donette, thank you so much for being here, and I will turn it over to you.
Well, thank you guys. Oh my gosh, I'm so excited. I hope you guys are excited too. I know that talking about money isn't always comfortable, but it's necessary, right? And I think one of my missions is, one, to help women gain financial independence, but also to have money not be a taboo anymore. It's just like, let's talk about it at dinner, just like we talk about all the other things. All right, let me share my screen with you. And I know we got like 45 minutes, so I'll talk fast and try to slow down. Let's see. Okay, so my name is Dawnette Palmore. I'm a money coach. Has anybody heard of a money coach before? Yes, okay. I can see like 5 of you, so I'm going to try to see everybody. Linda, if you could tell me if anybody's doing something or has a question, let me know, because I can only see a few people. So a money coach is basically a personal trainer for your money. So I help women gain clarity, control, and confidence with their money so they can run a thriving business and live a financially stress-free life. As you can see, I've been immediate past president. I have drank the Kool-Aid of NAWBO long ago. Currently, I am also I'm treasurer of NAWBO California. If you guys don't know, California is the only one that has a state chapter to help support the 11 chapters we have. And I'm also your PASC of, I think, 4 chapters. I would like to say this is a working and interactive workshop, so we're going to do some work here. Please ask questions if you have them, if you need clarification, and I'm also going to be asking you questions, so please participate. All right. Let's dive in. So I am so thrilled again to be here for our workshop on financial resilience, financial literacy. My goal is to provide you with strategies and tools to solidify your financial foundation as not only as you enter 2025, but beyond that, and also to change your family tree. Financial resilience is about building the strength and flexibility to withstand financial challenges, right? But it's also about creating habits and systems that keep your business stable. And today we're going to cover cash flow mastery, expense optimization, building financial reserves, and creating sustainable income streams. Okay. So transition, we're going to go to goal setting. Before we dive in, I'd like to take a moment for you guys to think about a specific financial goal you have for 2025. Maybe you want a certain amount saved in reserves, create consistent income, or simply just feel less stressed about money, right? So I'm going to give you guys about 30 seconds. Go ahead and write it down, and then we'll share, and then we'll dive into some other stuff. Okay, would anybody like to share what their goals or goal is, a financial goal for 2025?
We have stability, security, accountability for cash flow.
Love it. I know we're probably all multitasking here. So if you guys want to utilize the chat, go ahead and do that as well. More pipeline full. Awesome. Fabulous. Okay. Let me reshare my screen and we'll go on. Oh, hold on. Somebody put something in there. What did they put in there?
I want to have 100,000 in my business savings.
Ooh, I love that. Okay, yes.
That's
Let's
good.
get you there. Yes. All right, these are fantastic. Okay, so let's start with the basics of cash flow mastery, right? Cash flow is the movement of money in and out of our business, right? And it's crucial because it tells us a lot about the health of our business, but it also tells us what we can and cannot do in our business, right? So when we have this cash flow, we're like, are we able to cover our expenses? Can we invest in growth? Can we purchase a piece of equipment? Are we going to make payroll? Can we hire? So there's a lot of questions that cash flow can answer, right? And there are two main components to focus on. Can anyone guess what they are?
Any guesses?
Nope. Okay. That's all right. So it's revenue and expenses, right? So revenue is all the income that our business generates. And of course, what is expenses? It's all the costs required to keep our business running, right? So cash flow management really allows us to anticipate periods where money might be tight and plan for those months. And we're going to talk about that. So I recommend forecasting for at least 3 months, right, out. And this can be done with simple tools or spreadsheets that let you project expected income. We can kind of project expected income, right? If we have things in our pipeline, Mimi, if we know when we're going to close something or if we have an event or something like that. And then we can also project our expenses, right? Because some of those are fixed. So it's going to help us to stay on top of our cash flow trends, right? So does anybody use any kind of tool at this moment to track? Yes. Okay, fantastic. And it's okay if you don't. We're not here to beat you up or anything about like that. We just kind of getting a temperature of where everybody's at. So I did put a sheet in the chat. Let me know if I know sometimes if you come late. Let me try to put it back in there or put in there again, I should say, because and Linda, I'll send this to you so you could put it in for the recording. It's just we're just going to do a quick exercise to get this done. So does everybody have that? And you can even jot this on paper. You don't have to download that or anything. Okay, so take a look at the handout on the cash flow projection, and I want you to list 3 sources of revenue and 3 main expenses you expect over the next 3 months. And then just estimate the amount for each and see if it looks balanced or adjusted, and then we'll talk about it in just a minute. And then also, if you notice a gap, make sure you note how you plan to address it, if you have one. Or we can even brainstorm with you. I know you guys thought you weren't going to come here and do work.
When do we not do work?
That is true, right?
Dina knows.
All right, is anybody
really clear? It's really that's one of the clearest income statement sheets I've seen.
just sometimes simple is just the best.
Yeah.
And I didn't want to make anything too complicated. If something doesn't apply to you, just put whatever does apply to you there. All right, does anybody have theirs ready? Has anybody made any projections? Feel free to unmute as well. Regina, what's happening? I can see some stuff happening.
I'm sort of I own a medical practice, and so we are sort of, it's hard to do projections because we are at the mercy of the insurance companies. If they decide to pay in 7 days, great. If they decide to pay in 364, great. And there's nothing I can do about it. So that's that's why I put the stability, security, and accountability for the cash flow, because, we do everything we're supposed to do. Hey, Sandra. Sandra's my bookkeeper. She's the one that turned me on to this. She's wonderful. But that's one of the struggles that we have. And some of the things that, we can project, I know how many, appointments we have, but if there's a glitch somewhere with that. So that's one of my struggles with projections, is I know the accountability I have for my employees and how many appointments I expect them to have, but there's that middleman there that sort of messes us up.
Yes, I totally understand that. So my suggestion would be, okay, the latest they pay is 60 days, right? So anywhere from 7 days to 60.
365.
Oh, a year.
Yes.
Okay.
Most are done within 60.
Okay.
60, but yeah.
Okay, I get it.
Yeah.
I know they do some crazy stuff. So I would say take those and say, okay, on average, we get paid in about 60 days. So whatever income I'm getting today, whatever I'm making today is probably going to come in 60 days. So you're just going to have to project this income out a little bit more, if that makes sense.
Yep.
Anybody else get any revelation or have any questions or feel like, how am I going to fill in this gap? Mimi, are you wanting to say something? You're on mute if you're okay.
Yeah,
There we go.
I know. No.
Okay.
I have a bookkeeper and they figured this out.
Okay, good.
I don't really look at that. But that's the goal, is to make more than I spend, which so far has not worked out, but it has been 40 years in business. So I'm doing something right, but
Yeah. So I would say make sure that you're getting reports from your bookkeeper.
Oh,
and
I do.
Knowing, okay, fantastic. Yeah, because we still want to stay engaged.
Yeah.
Even, QuickBooks and stuff is all a great tracking tool. And we're going to talk about a spending plan in a little bit, but we don't want to disconnect from our money. No matter how big we get, we want to make sure that we know what's happening with our money.
Right. I kind
Awesome.
of know that from the credit card bills.
Okay.
Because I see, Network Solutions, I had to up that. So it's a yearly fee for my domain. Oh, that's great. It's a write-off, 100%. Terrific.
That's the way it makes us happy, is if we can deduct it, right?
Oh, wonderful. Yes.
I love it. Okay. Okay, so now let's talk about the next thing, which is I mentioned spending plans and optimizing expenses. So a spending plan is really a financial roadmap. And when it's done right, it keeps you aligned with your goals. The spending plan also puts us in control of our money. And as you notice, I don't use the word budget because budgets feel restrictive. They set these boundaries we don't like, and we feel like we're stuffed in a basket we can't get out of. But when we have a spending plan, it actually gives us the freedom to spend our money the way that we want, so that we can save the $100,000 we want to save, or we can figure out, how can I make sure that I am spending less than I'm actually making, and where do I want my dollars to go? So you get to tell your money where to go. It puts you back in control, and you get to spend it on what you want to spend it on. So how do we create a simple, effective plan? So things we want to include, as we talked about, expected income, right? Based on the past trends or commitments that we have from clients. I'm sorry, expected income. Fixed expenses. So these are regular costs like our rent, subscriptions, things that come up every month. And then we have something called variable expenses, right? So a lot of times I see that people, even in their personal finances, don't account for this. And what would you think, or what would you say is a variable expense in your business or your life? Let me open the chat. You guys could tell me in the chat too if you'd like. Teenager needing fees for activities. Yep. Food. Yep. Client entertainment. Yes. Those are great. Also licensing, memberships, insurance. Sometimes we pay insurance monthly, sometimes it's every 6 months or once a year. On our personal side, it could be holidays and birthdays and events and property taxes and things like that. So these we're not really thinking about until we're like, oh shoot, that's due. And it's usually a big amount, right? So we also want to take these things into consideration when we're planning our spending plan, right? Because it's going to help us to break it down, put it aside in what I call a short-term savings. So when it comes up, it's like, okay, there's the money. So this is learning a new habit and behavior to help us be financially successful and not have these oh crap moments. So as far as the teenagers needing fees for activities, you'll know, like if you look at the year, how often are they entering a new season or whatever they call it for, and how much is that costing and what do they need new cleats or shoes or equipment, whatever that is, taking all that in consideration and then breaking it down monthly. Food could be variable, but we can also stay within a certain amount if we want to. And I know with inflation, it's gotten kind of crazy. I thought, oh, my kids, I am a bird launcher. My bills are going to go down. They have not. And then client entertainment, we can also say, this is the limit I have this month for client entertainment. Just so that we can keep on our goals, because we also have to take care of our future selves, right? And our future goals and the things that we have planned for that. Awesome. I love this. Okay. And then of course we have savings allocation, right? We always want to set aside a portion for savings or reserves, even if it's just a small amount at first. We want to build that muscle and that habit. And we're going to dive into that one in a bit too. One of the quickest ways to improve cash flow is by auditing our expenses, right? This involves we can review our bank statements, our credit card statements, our P&Ls, if we get them from our bookkeepers and things like that. And look to see if there's any subscriptions or maybe there's some kind of unnecessary cost we can reduce or eliminate, right? So before we dive into the activity, I'd love to show you what a spending plan looks like all filled out. And then maybe if we have time, we can do a real quick one with somebody. So let me go off of here, because it's a lot easier to show you than it is to explain it all. It disappeared off my screen, but let's see if it pops up when I share it. Oh, there it is. Okay. All right. Can everybody see this? So this is an example of a spending plan. We have when the income is coming in, what month it is, and all their expenses on the side, what that looks like, and then allocated. So when is that coming out? And then of course, actually spent. And what I love about this sheet is that we get to plan, allocate, and track. And the reason I love tracking is because sometimes we think an amount is okay for something and it tends not to be. So let's take eating out. We think, okay, $500 a month for eating out is fine, when in reality, it's not. Maybe it's not enough, or maybe it's too much. So this is kind of what it looks like for a business one. I'll just kind of scroll through it. Let me know if you guys have any questions. We have traveling, right? Because we have conferences we need to be at and retreats. If any of you guys got to go to the NAWBO retreat. And then here they have the total income, total expenses, and then this person obviously, hey, I'm in the red. What do I need to do to come back into the black? So that is what that kind of looks like. And it doesn't. Ah, there they are. So I talked a little bit about short-term savings, and you guys could see there's an S here. This is where you would keep track of your short-term savings. Like, okay, I have to have business insurance or estate tax or my P.O. box. These are some of the things that could come up yearly, but let's save for them. You know, what does this look like? Something when we go to our conferences, on average, those conferences are about $3,000, right? With the flight and the hotel and all that stuff. And I know a lot of people are unable to go because it's a big expense. But what if we started saving now for that and putting it into our spending plan so that when it's time, we're like, bam, I got my ticket. Bam, there's my airplane ticket, my hotel. Like, it's not a burden. Does that make sense?
That's
Fabulous.
a great plan.
Okay.
That's a great plan.
Yes, because we want to be at these conferences because it's just like so powerful to be there, right? Or whatever trip, if you guys want to do some kind of business growth, you can always plan it in. Okay, is anybody brave enough or want to walk through yours real quick? We could spend maybe 5 minutes on it. If not, that's okay. I get it. Because our business expenses can be complicated. Okay, no problem. Let me stop sharing that. Take this down. Does anybody have any questions about the spending plan? And I'm going to give you guys a QR code where you guys can get that if you want it. And then you guys can have it. And if you have questions, just let me know.
That's
And
fantastic.
I know. Okay. Let's go back on track. Okay. Activity. It's time to put you guys to work. So let's just do a quick expense audit. So take a couple of minutes and do for this expense audit and just list out expenses that you know you can maybe cut back on or renegotiate. These could be services maybe you no longer need, subscriptions that are essential, which I just cut some of those out, or maybe it's a high cost item that you might have alternatives to. And this exercise is just about freeing up funds, right? Where can we be freeing up funds? Maybe, we think, oh, it's just a little bit, but it could be a little bit here and there, and that adds up to quite a bit. And also, why are we giving out money for things we're not even using, right? So we can use those funds to put towards our goals of saving or, growing our business or whatever that might be for you. And I did an event last week and we were talking about this very thing. And someone said to buy the next package because they would save more money if they upgraded because they use this program so much. So maybe it's time to upgrade something. And maybe it's going to cost you less because you upgrade. So now, sometimes when you subscribe to something, it only gives you a certain amount of items or times you can use it. And then you're like, oh no, I need more because I have more clients or more customers or whatever, but it's actually costing you more money. So maybe you have something like that where you could be like, okay, now it's time to upgrade and it's actually going to save me money. Does anybody have any subscriptions or anything that they can cut back on or cut out altogether?
I just did this last year with Zoom. I realized that I had a bigger Zoom package than I needed anymore.
I love that.
Yeah, and it was a substantial difference in pricing.
Wow, yeah.
Yeah.
And
so
also sorry, go ahead.
Oh, that's it.
That's a good point you brought up because sometimes we pay for things on a monthly basis. And if we just paid yearly, it's like saves us some money.
So, hi, my name is Sandra. Sorry I
Hi.
joined late today. I was on another
Oh, no worries.
assigned to get on this one. But one thing that our firm did recently was uh, multi, it's a multiple phases of moving away from the email we were on, which was called Rackspace. Apparently, it wasn't very stable anymore. So we moved to Outlook, Microsoft Outlook, which actually costs more, but it's more stable, has a lot more features. And with Microsoft Outlook, we're not going to be able to use the bookings and get rid of another software called Acuity. We're going to be able to stop using Daylight, which is a CRM, so that we can begin using Carbon, which is an accounting software that once again costs a little bit more, but it's somewhat of an upgrade. It's a better CRM, but it's going to allow us to help manage our workflow so that hopefully we'll be more productive, more efficient, and hence more profitable. At the same time, we're also able to start using Microsoft Teams so that we can stop using Slack for our 14 team members, which was also costing money. And then on top of all of that, we're able to stop using Daylight, which is a software that's not cheap. It's Carbon is replacing. So there were a lot of moves that we made and are still working on finalizing the last little bit of that. But I think in the end, the goal is to get more features than we had before that will help us become more efficient and more productive, and we'll probably end up paying the same amount in the end. So
I
that's
love
one.
that. So that's also something to consider, Sandra, is it giving us more efficiency? Sometimes things that cost more will make us more efficient, but in the long run, that's going to free up our time so we can get more clients and customers in the door, right? I love that. Thank you for
Exactly.
bringing that up. That's wonderful.
Exactly.
And congratulations, because that's a project in itself. Anybody else?
One other thing we did earlier this year, if I may,
Yeah, absolutely.
typically we provide all of our team members with Apple products so that everyone has great equipment, top notch. And I was adamant about making sure that our team had the MacBook Pros. They're the top of the line, best of the best. But over time, Apple has started improving their MacBook Air laptops. It finally reached the point this year where I felt comfortable with the MacBook Airs providing us with a solid enough laptop to where we were able to start buying the MacBook Airs for our bookkeepers, thereby saving $1,000 per MacBook.
Wow. That's
Yes,
awesome.
yes,
Fantastic.
that was huge. I wasn't comfortable with it in the beginning. MacBook Air wasn't quite there. Their screens were 14 inches. My team members needed larger screens because we work on, on numbers all the
Yes. Yes, I have a large screen too, which I absolutely love. And whenever I buy my laptops, I'm like, what's the biggest screen I can get for a laptop?
time. Right,
So
right.
that's fantastic. Mimi said Spectrum, she's getting rid of TV channels she doesn't watch. That's great because a lot of times, we think, oh, cable is expensive, but then we're like, oh, but I'll get this channel. Before we know it, we're buying more streaming channels that's costing us more than cable would. So making sure we're watching those. And what's really awesome too about streaming is that we could shut it on and off. We're not in it as a commitment, right? So sometimes I'll turn something on because a show I want to watch is on, and then I shut it off when the show's over. So we could think about those too. Streaming isn't gone forever, and it also doesn't lock us in like cable does. Okay. So how did that feel for everybody? Kind of saying, what are some things that I need to be looking at? Good, thumbs up. Okay. Okay, so financial reserves, or what I like to call hills and valley funds, are essential for resilience. And this is different than an emergency fund. But having this type of fund means that even if business slows down, you can handle expenses without needing to dip into your personal money or take out loans. So ideally, a reserves or a Hills and Valley fund should cover 3 to 6 months of expenses. But because we've had something like COVID that we've never knew could happen, did happen. And so I say to try to build it up to 9 to 12. And of course, this is something we build up over time, right? We start instilling those behaviors and habits. So we're putting in our spending plan towards this every single month, and we're building up to this because it can sound overwhelming. How much does my business need to run for 3 months? Especially Regina, right? What would that be to have a 3 month of reserve? Like you're like, whoa, that's a lot. But if you put a little bit aside every time, then it's like, oh, okay, I can get there. It's going to take me some time, but I can get there. Okay, so what we want to do is set a target amount, right? So base an average monthly expenses and calculate a reserves goal. So thinking about what is my business cost to run on average a month? Sometimes it kind of fluctuates. And then you take that. Consistent contributions, right? So setting aside a small amount every single month, just a little, even if, you know what, even if it's $5, they say investing, people are like, I don't even know where to start. Start with $5, whatever it is, wherever your business is out, just start with something because you're going to, again, start that habit and behavior. And then you're gonna be like, oh, where can I get more to start building this up? Where can I, what don't I need that I can use that money towards this goal? And then of course, separate accounts. So keep reserve funds in a separate account to avoid purposely accidentally spending the money, right? So I like to keep my money out in a virtual bank, or yeah, I guess that's a good word for it. And so if anything happens, the money's there, but I'm not like, oh my gosh, I want this to, because it's going to take time to get it over there, right? So you can't impulse spend with it, is what I'm saying. But you'll know if you're looking at your spending plan and you're making your projections, like, hey, I'm going to be a little bit under this month. I need to pull from that fund. And again, it's separate from an emergency fund. An emergency fund is for unexpected expense circumstances or expenses, right? So our licensing fee is not unexpected. Our company holiday party is not unexpected. Our phone falling in the water could be. Our computer frying is an emergency, right? So things that we don't expect to happen, that happen. Does that make sense? Okay, is there anybody already doing an emergency or Hills and Valley Fund? Let me open, you guys could type it in the chat. Let me open this chat again. I call it peace of mind money. I love that, Nicole. Yes, name it whatever you want. That is a great name for it. Okay. Okay, so activity, write down what your reserve target is. So I'll give you guys about 30 seconds and then next to it, jot down one way you could begin contributing to it, whether it's a percentage or maybe just an amount. And maybe you don't know exactly what your business costs every month, you can just pick a number. Does anybody want to share what their target amount is and how they can start contributing? Nicole, can you tell us how you contribute since you're already doing it? Do you put a percentage? Do you put an amount aside? Regina, go ahead.
You want to put it in the chat?
That work?
Oh,
very good.
yes.
That works.
Don't know what just happened, but we'll take it. I say I'm not in a position to do it yet, but I would like to, put 5% into that fund every 5% of the revenue.
Can you start putting 0.5%?
Hopefully in the beginning of the year I will. There's been lots of things that were way out of control, like hurricanes and stuff that affected our revenue this year. So, when you get shut down for a couple of weeks,
Yes, yes.
there's nothing that you could ever do. So once we recoup from that, hopefully we can. I'd like
Which
to.
is, yes, and which is a great reason to have that. Natural disasters. We don't know when they're going to hit or how long our business will be shut down for. That's great. And then Nicole says she uses the profit first method. So she uses a percentage. Has anybody here heard of profit first? Okay. It is a way you can, it's kind of what I do with my clients, but I use a short-term savings. I think his name is Mike or Michael. He uses different bank accounts. Same concept, just done a little bit differently. But if you guys want to look him up, it's Profit First is the name of his book. Okay. Anybody else want to share? We got a quiet group today. I know
I love the idea of building a reserves. And I guess I keep waiting for the day when I have a ton of money I can just throw into a savings account. But I like the idea of setting something aside. So I'm going to commit today to setting aside 1% of gross revenue each month to the reserve account with a goal. I'm going to start small, of setting aside 1 month of expenses. And
I love it.
and then hopefully, when I do have, extra cash sitting around, I'll toss it in there, knowing that it's available. But I also like the idea of having a separate bank account, because right now it's too easy to just make a transfer. It'd take me less than 30 seconds to transfer from that savings account into the bank account.
Yes. Yes.
I
That's
love
why
that.
yeah, fantastic. I love that. Oh. And that's the thing is we think even when we're investing, right? We're like, oh my gosh, I have to have a pile of money to invest. But if we just start small, same thing, like, how am I going to save all this money? Just a little bit at a time, a little bit at a time. I love that.
That's how we'll eat this elephant, right?
That is exactly right. We have to eat it one bite at a time. All right. So then we have to stabilize and diversify, right? So sustainable income comes from consistent, reliable revenue streams. So think about and identify which sources bring in steady income in your business and consider focusing on those. Sometimes we focus on things that we think could bring in money, but that they're not, or they're not bringing in a lot of money. So it's better to focus on what is bringing in the most amount of revenue, focus on that and get that out there. And then diversify, right? And it's important for financial stability. We can't depend just on one stream of income, even in our business. The markets shift, things happen, natural disasters happen, and things just change. And so we got to keep our businesses going, right? And we have to get creative and keep up with what people want. So it doesn't mean we have to have, several businesses, but we can also create different streams of revenue in our business, right? So here are some ways that we can approach this. So reoccurring revenue models. Think about adding maybe a membership or a subscription, which can provide a predictable income, right? If we know how many members that we have subscribed to whatever we're doing. Is there anybody here that could do like a membership or a subscription? Mimi, you're a speaking coach. Nicole said yes, she can. Okay. Do you just speak or do you help people to?
Oh, no, I don't speak anymore. I spoke for 30 years. I help people create their speeches, whether it's a marketing speech, a TEDx, or a keynote. But what you're saying, the add-on services, there's a follow-up thing that I do for free that I probably could charge a little bit, but you're getting me thinking. Thank you.
Yes, you're welcome. You're welcome. Anybody else's wheels spinning?
I have a membership plan and we under market it. So, and we just need to, I think I have the wrong person kind of in looking at it, and now I'm thinking about how would it change that. Thank you.
Awesome. Fabulous. Okay. I love this. 2025 looking good already. Okay. So then also upsell or cross-sell opportunities, right? So offer existing clients additional services or products. Is there another way to put something else in front of that client or do like an add-on? How many times do we go to buy something and it's like they try to upsell us? My daughter was just getting something from 7-Eleven and the guy's upselling her. He's like, oh, you want this? You want this? And I was like, dang, he's upselling you. So what are some ways we can add things on to also bring in more revenue, right? And then, well, and we talked about add-on services. So if you're a service-based business, we can add things on like digital products, right? Mimi, you could add digital products. You could add courses. Like there's a lot of things she can do. Even templates or guides. What are some things that we can add on to our business to help bring in another stream of revenue? Even if it's like, you know, sometimes coaches or people with services can do like a $47 course or package or a 27. And if you sold 100, 200, I mean, just think about it's an effortless sell because you don't have to do the work anymore. It's like one and done. You just have to put it out there and let people get it. So is there, I know we talked a couple, but anybody else thinking of any other ways they could bring revenue into their business?
You know, Dawnette, I was speaking with a business owner yesterday. She has a very interesting just space organizing business is how she started. You know, she's a professional organizer and she could come in and do all sorts of different organizing things. And then she ended up adding on to that a plant service, which super surprised me because she's like, once your space is really organized and really beautiful, if you're somebody who does not have a green thumb, but you love houseplants, but you don't know what to buy, don't know what to put, what's going to survive here and there, then she will actually do a consultation with that and teach you how to take care of them and beautify your space once it's all organized. And I'm like, well, that was just a brilliant add-on. And
Yeah, that
yeah,
is.
and she's making good money with her plant service, which is completely, you know, just stemmed from her organization service. She's just was listening to her clients and they were saying, oh, it looks so pretty in here now. I wish I had a green thumb. I would add plants.
Mm,
And she
I
was like,
love
I know a
it.
lot about plants. I can help you with that. And now she's making good money doing that as well.
And I love what you said. She listened to her clients.
Yeah.
So maybe your clients have been asking for something or, you know, what are they asking for? What are they struggling with that's in common? And you can create from there. Thank you for sharing that. Okay, action steps. So we covered key elements in building financial resilience, mastering our cash flow, planning and building a reserves, and then of course stabilizing our income streams and adding more streams of revenue. So each of these practices will strengthen your not only your financial foundation, but it's going to help us prepare for what is to come in 2025 and beyond, right? Because we have to have a foundation and build on top of it and not just think about 2024 or 2025, but what's beyond that? What are we going to do with our business? Are we going to do legacy with our business and pass it to our kids? Are we going to sell our business? Like, what does that look like? And we can work backwards and everything we do today sets us up for tomorrow. Okay, so I know Sandra already said what she was going to do, and I think one other person had an action item. So think about what is one action you're going to take over this next, we're not even in the last quarter, but these next couple of months that are ending 2024. So what is one action Okay, Sandra's also gonna conduct an expense audit. Yes, again. Things seep through. I've had clients do like 300 a month in subscriptions and they're like, oh. So just looking through our expenses again. Anybody else? What is your action item you're going to do? We haven't heard from Alfredo. Expense audit. Love it. Christina. Okay. Expense audit. Do you recommend tools to manage help all of this? So, is it McKaylee? Am I saying that right? I would say, look through your bank statements and credit card statements. See what's going on there. I'll grow my own worms again.
What,
Tamray.
can I tell you what that is?
Yes.
Well, I love to fish, and for several years, I would buy a few hundred worms, Canadian worms, and I would build my little worm farm. And it's a lot less expensive that way than if you go buy a dozen worms at a time.
Oh.
And, but these last couple of years have been, and what was great about that was, I'd grow my worms. There's not much upkeep. You throw them in the refrigerator, toss in some eggshells and potato peelings every couple of weeks, and the worms grow and proliferate and make more babies. And so whenever I went fishing, I would just grab a few and off I went. And I wouldn't have to stop at the store. I wouldn't have to make an extra trip. I wouldn't have to worry about, is the store open for me? And I saved money because it's expensive when you buy them a dozen at a time. So recently, over the last year or so, I stopped doing that because I just got busy. But I'm probably spending a whole lot more money buying. No, I know I'm spending a whole lot more money buying them a dozen at a time. And I'm out at the RV right now, working on my and fishing. And so yeah, the worms, I had to make sure I got to the store on time before they closed, et cetera, et cetera. So once again,
Love it.
I'm
I love
working
it.
well, but in the end I'll save money.
Yes.
Okay, Sandra, you know where my brain's going right now. How many of your neighbors in that RV park are fishing too, and how you can make a new business out of this? You can pay online. You can drop them at their space on your way out.
Interesting.
Yeah. Thank you, Mimi. Okay, we're almost here to wrap up. So, any questions? Okay. So, thank you guys for being here. I know, you guys took time out of your day to be here, and I appreciate that. I hope that I know we had like less than an hour, and, but that you did get some clarity. And I love your guys' next steps, that it's putting you into action. The next workshop's going to be on November 19th, and we're going to talk about money mindset and how to overcome financial stress and develop a prosperous mindset. You can find me on all the places. TikTok, I'm at Your Money on Purpose, Instagram, all that stuff. I also have a podcast. It's called Your Business on Purpose. It's by businesswomen for businesswomen. If you want to connect with me, you can scan this code, and you can also, when you scan the code, it'll say spreadsheet on there. That's where you could get the spreadsheet I used today. Any questions?
Don't think so. Thank you very much.
All right. Thank you guys, ladies and gent.
Ladies and gent. Thank you so much, Donette, for giving us such
To
a
get a
great
copy
start.
of the spending plan, did you put the link in there?
Yeah, if you scan the QR code, did you scan the QR code?
Yeah, okay, so go
Okay.
there.
Yeah, it'll say, says spreadsheet. Let me see the exact words. It's like the second one down.
Okay, all right, thank you.
You're welcome.
Fantastic.
This is
Have
very
a great day, ladies.
Thank
I'm
you.
glad. Thank you.
Next
Thank
month.
you. Yes.